Got the best coaches in the game. We really ain't playing. We regroup up in the Slack chat where the coaches debrief. We be piecing these puzzles, occupy the chunk of the pie. Ain't no lie when we hit the block. Helmet's casket is top. You be seeing helmet after helmet, helmet after helmet. First place, second place, fifth place, eighth place, 12th place, 15, 16, 20. So many helmets, you got blurred vision, we got too many. Tick your tech. Oh man, shit. They got us fucked up. Army, regroup. We pledge always to have that edge. We don't fire warning shots. Competition just dropped. We locked and loaded before lock. Whatever the time, yeah. Do you even correlate?
Being the best requires a willingness to outwork your competition. There's always someone smarter, faster, sharper, more naturally gifted to come around.
What's up, everyone? We've got another primetime breakdown coming for you guys here, and welcome back to the show. Tonight, we've got the Patriots taking on the Chiefs. We've got the Falcons at Green Bay. Lots of interesting stuff going on, lots of injuries, lots of crazy shit, lots of corona floating around in the air. So put your mask on. First, be safe. Second, we've got some monster contests. So I've got the CashKeg himself with me to help me break this slate down for you guys. What's up, Keg?
What's up? Happy. Two-gamer, man. I wish there were two gamers every Monday like this.
I hear that. And for those who don't know, I am Kevin Allen, a.k.a. the Geek. And we're going to break this bad boy down and smash this tournament tonight. I feel pretty confident about that. Let's get started. What you're seeing on the screen here is Domination Station. I've just got the two games loaded up here. So, Keg, for the first game, let's just do a little broad overview here. Chiefs are 10.5-point favorite. When was the last time the Patriots were 10.5-point underdogs? Like,
oh man, that'd be a good.
Drew Bledsoe was the quarterback.
Probably. It's been a while.
Been a bit, but we got Brian Hoyer, aka I'm your Hoyer. I'm your Hoyer. I don't know. It's from Game of Thrones. Taking over for the Patriots at the quarterback position. Remember when Shay said to Tyrion, she's like, I'm your Hoyer. Yeah,
I just keep in horror.
I'm your Hoyer. All right, so we've got Brian Hoyer taking over the helmsmanship for the Patriots here. And let's focus on that game first.
All right.
So these teams have played before quite a few times. And pretty much every time they play, you know how Belichick is all about taking out the best player on the opposing team?
They are.
It's like what he game plans for. A lot of people think that's Kelsey or Tyreek Hill. I actually think what he does is he plans to take out the passing game for the Chiefs by dropping extra men into coverage, which opens up the running game. And that's why every time these two teams have faced off, or at least three of the last four, the running back has smashed. Going all the way back to that game where even when when Kareem Hunt was with the Chiefs and he went off for like 180 yards and 2 touchdowns in one of his first games ever. So that's the sexy play for me is Clyde Edwards-Helaire on this slate. That's the one that's standing out.
Well, it makes perfect sense because, Belichick's not stupid. And he also knows that, with no Cam, regardless if they had Cam, they are not going to be able to keep up scoring with KC. And the longer they can push them drives out and milk the clock, then they might have a chance if they're only, 2 touchdowns down going in the fourth instead of being down 28 points or something. Even though that defense is pretty good with New England. I mean, there's just too many weapons on that team to stop them. So that's definitely the best avenue.
One of the things I talked about in my notes here is how Mahomes is elite versus the blitz, for example. And we talked about this last week when they played the Ravens, how the Ravens are going to blitz anyway. They don't care. Like the analytics say that Mahomes is one of those quarterbacks that when you blitz him, his quarterback rating goes up. And this is why they smashed the Ravens. If the Ravens fans are so pissed, but this is why the Chiefs always smash the Ravens, because they don't care. They're going to keep blitzing you constantly. That is their defense. They will not change for anybody. I think the Patriots are different. This is, again, on the same note. The Patriots are different. They're going to know that Mahomes is elite versus the blitz, and they're going to not pressure. Again, more of a drop, drop the extra linebacker into coverage, only rush 5, only rush 4. It's probably going to be only rush 5, keep a spy out there for Mahomes, and essentially dare you to run the football, which is why it's such a great spot for Hilaire, even if we think that the Patriots are an elite defense. Passing game weapons. Let's start on the Chiefs side here. It's the usual suspects, right? You've got Kelsey, Tyreek Hill. You've got one thing interesting. Sammy Watkins been out there on the field for over 80% of the snaps. He does his thing, his Sammy Watkins thing. And the biggest takeaway that I've learned over the last couple of weeks is the increase in time on the field snap share for Mecole Hardman. My boy is getting almost 50% snap share, where he was more like 15 to 20% last season, and it's been going up each week. So it seems like Andy Reid and crew have noticed that this guy's pretty good. How do you feel about the passing game situation scenario for the Patriots overall, for the Chiefs overall, especially considering that we know the Patriots have 2 elite-ish cornerbacks, but the Chiefs have 3 or 4 guys that they could throw to or more.
I think you got to take it in context with the whole slate. And when we get to the second game and understand how banged up Green Bay is, that's where you get cute with the guys that get different. And so on a team with KC, even though if we think they're going to run a lot, this is not where you get cute, even in a 2-gamer, because of all the different ways we can go on that Green Bay side. So I think you're just going to stick with the main guys you talked about, and just don't veer too far off here.
There we go. You're 100%. Like, what we have to do is look at these games, these position groups in a bubble against one another, right? So part of the reason I'm talking about the Chiefs first is, listen, Mahomes stands out as the best quarterback on the slate because he's coming off like a 50-point performance last week, and he is the GOAT, right? His projection is massively above anybody else on the slate. It's not even close. Like, he's projecting for us at 26.8 fantasy points, with Rodgers, the second best guy, coming in, in the 20s. And my goodness, Aaron Jones, Davante Adams is going to be out, so who knows how much Rodgers can really throw for touchdowns in this game. So there's a lot of question marks beyond Mahomes, who's got his full team. He's got his full slate of weapons ahead of him. And it's just a question of, like, how much do they throw? Even when you hold Mahomes down, that's like a 25-point game.
Yeah, because they could run down the field inside the 20s, and then when they get in the red zone, they hook up with Kelsey, or, they could still throw to Edwards-Helaire. So it's not like he can't still have a 4-touchdown game, even though his yardage isn't up there. So it's, yeah.
Absolutely. And all right, so absolutely. And the flip side of this game, we've got Brian Hoyer, spot start coming in here for Cam. Cam got the roan. What are you going to do? Right? I liked Cam in this spot because the Chiefs are really more vulnerable via the rush than the pass. Traditionally, their cornerback play is elite. Not a lot of people know it. I think people are coming around to it and starting to understand that the Chiefs have elite pass defense. Not a lot of people know it. But it puts the Patriots wide receivers in a really tough spot. First of all, you got Hoyer, who is not a deep ball guy to begin with.
No.
So Demir Bird, the deep guy, not so great. He's the WR kind of 2-ish, 3-ish for the Patriots. I think N'Keal Harry has a talent issue. I don't like to judge talent, man. I really don't. But I think there might be a talent issue there where he's not that good. And then you've got Edelman, who's always kind of hurt, but I think in the best potential spot to hook up with Hoyer. So, do we like any of these guys? I don't think I could play Hoyer on the slate at all. I don't care how cheap he is. I think there's enough salary savings looking over the slate that I don't have to play Hoyer. I'm fading him. I'm telling you right off the bat. I will have no I'm not doing it.
Yeah, there's no reason to, because, again, once we get to the second game and all the value that opens up to pay up to the guys that are going to do something, KC could just absolutely smash him. But I think you're right. With Hoyer's, the way he throws, the passes he throws, and everywhere he's been, 10, 15 yards max ADOT guy. Like he's not gonna be chucking the field, throwing bombs to Bird at all. So, Edelman could easily catch 8, 10 balls, but I don't think they're going to be for massive chunks. So he's better DK play than FanDuel.
100%. I actually think the threat here is what running backs are he going to throw to? So I again, Chiefs cornerback play is I don't want to go through the names of the corners here. I don't have them memorized, to be honest with you, but they're all good and they're all rated really, really high. Like they're all rated as some of the best corners in the league, under the radar, like not brand name, but under the radar best corners in the league. So with Hoyer, I think it's the running backs that they're going to throw to that really is interesting in this game for me. I think, with James White and Rex Burkhead who can catch, and maybe Damian Snacks Harris.
I think this is where you can get a jump in leverage and ownership when you're talking about things, because that massive game that Burkhead came off of, where he got those touchdowns, even with Cam in there. There's no James White last week,
it could be White a little bit more, or it could be Burkhead again. We don't know.
It could, but I'm saying like if you're looking at an ownership leverage, I would much rather be on White than I would Burkhead. And they could run them both out there and run routes. But if I'm going to look at getting ahead in a 2-gamer, I would much rather go for White than I would Burkhead, because everyone and their mom is going to be on Burkhead.
Yeah,
with those
we'll have a minute to take a look at ownership projections, but I mean, it's not showing anybody that's going to be super high owned, but James White at 2% is really low. So that should be interesting. And here's Damian Harris coming in with a projection. So do we think he's going to play?
Yeah, they activated him.
Man, guys, you want to play the guessing game of Patriots running backs? This is like a nightmare. Don't play a lot of any of them.
I still think White's your guy on DraftKings. And I would take a chance on White and Harris on FanDuel, because Harris, if they get down to the red zone, they could easily just try to run in Harris. But you're playing Russian roulette with running backs, regardless what you do here.
Don't know. They will bust out like these 3 names, and then like Brandon Bolden will get the time. Like, you don't know
what
the Patriots are going to do.
It's White if I had to pick one. Gun to my head.
I agree. All right, so let's jump over to the other game real quick, and then I want to go position by position a little bit.
Sure.
But in the Falcons-Packers game, again, we were throwing a curveball here. Davante Adams not going to play. So Alan Lazard not going to play. So now the Packers are down to a literal group of ne'er-do-wells, practice squad call-ups that are going to be catching passes. Valdez-Scantling is going to lead the way in the wide receiver core, followed by Darius Shepard. Who the fuck is Darius Shepard? I don't know, but that's the guy. Malik Taylor. Have you seen? No, I don't know. Turd. It's not a good scene. But on the flip side, the Packers have the best matchup of them all. Of all of the games, the one truly bad defense on the slate is the Falcons. So it's really confusing what we should do here.
I will take a scrub wide receiver or a non-elite wide receiver with a elite quarterback like Adams, then the other flip side of Hoyer, more of a scrub quarterback with,
kind of scrubby wide receiver.
Yeah, like it's just because they're going to catch the ball if he puts it right on the money, and he said, we've seen how bad Atlanta is. I mean, they're so bad.
They're a bad defense.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting situation that sets up, because that's the worst defense. Like, you want to target them, but my goodness, they don't have any weapons left on the Packers. It's really tricky. Now on the side, and I actually think with Rodgers, I we'll get to it when we go to positions, but I actually think it's the running backs and the tight ends. The Robert Tonyan, who got 62% of the snaps last week, going to go up. I think they're going to play a lot of 2 tight end sets, which will put Jace Sternberger on the field a little bit more, because it's going to be, and I think we might see Aaron Jones light up as a wide receiver a little bit. I think like all of that is in play. They're going to figure out ways.
Because they can just easily put Jamal Williams in the backfield. So that's
what I'm saying. You're going to shift Aaron Jones out to the slot. You'll get Jamal Williams in the backfield, and that's how they make up the talent gap. They just keep talent on the field, but put them in different areas. Aaron Jones is borderline a wide receiver from his pass catching skills. So and again, we'll see a little more Jace Sternberger, a little more Tonyan. Robert Tonyan.
Yep.
Dude got 18% of the targets so far this season. They're throwing to Tonyan. That guy's a really good play. So that's the quarterback positions. Now looking at that's sort of the game environments, right? I think Aaron Jones sets up like Kamara does when there's no Michael Thomas, which is a fucking beast of targets.
Yeah,
right? You must play him.
Yeah, you got to, especially on a 2-gamer, like just raw points.
Yeah, Tyler Ervin coming in, going to play a little bit. It's going to be gross. So let's Tyler Ervin, I think, is RB eligible, which means he might not be playable. I think he's an RB. Yeah, he's considered a running back, so it's going to be hard to play him. But he does line up as a wide receiver. So let's look at this now on a position by position basis, because this is what we're talking about. We've got a 2-game slate to deal with, and I think you and I agree we're going to fade Brian Hoyer. No real point in playing him because the salaries don't really force us
not at all
pay down.
No.
On Fanduel and DraftKings, Rodgers and Mahomes are about the same salary level. We can get some savings going down to Matt Ryan, but when you play Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers within a couple $100 of each other, you need Rodgers to outscore Mahomes.
Yep.
Could it happen? Yes.
Sure.
What do you think? How much exposure do you like? How much do we want? Now, again, the game doesn't set up well for Mahomes. Doesn't matter. Mahomes puts up 25. Like,
yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, I don't care what the game script is or any of that stuff. On a 2-gamer, when you're looking at raw points, when you have these 4 quarterbacks on the board, just because now if it would be different if salary was actually a thing, but like just initially putting lineups together, you basically play whoever you want to with all the value you get at Green Bay. So, I don't know. First run, I had like 2-1 Mahomes over Rodgers, but
where does Matt Ryan fall in that?
He's under. He's my third. If this was in Atlanta, I think I would have more of them.
I think there's no doubt that the floor is the lowest for Matt Ryan.
Oh, for sure.
The Packers have a good defense. This is another thing that people don't know. Packers cornerback play is also elite. They have a good defense. I mean, what we know from Atlanta is they're going to be throwing nonstop. They don't run very much. Like, no. They're going to be throwing nonstop. But if he's not completing passes, if he's not completing passes, if he's not throwing for touchdowns, if they're running a touchdown in, which could be the case, they can get down to the one, they run in the touchdown, Gurley's there. Then Ryan's just not going to do what he's got to do. Again, I don't foresee that type of situation for Rodgers or Mahomes, because even with Rodgers, I think he's going to be throwing Aaron Jones. Like, Aaron Jones will score a touchdown. Rodgers will benefit, probably.
Yep.
So I agree with that. I think Matt Ryan has the lowest floor. You got to get some exposure. I'd probably be in the 40, 30, 20 exposures range for this trio. 40 plus 30 plus 20 is 50, 90. Add a little bit. I
had 50, 30, 20 when I ran them.
Yeah. Got to play a lot of Mahomes. It's fucking Mahomes. I don't care what the matchup is. I agree with it. Because Mahomes will go for 26 on a bad day, where that's a great day for Rodgers or Matt Ryan. So it's just an ownership play. Let's take a look at what the ownerships are going to be. I'm actually curious at quarterback what we're going to see. Let's take a look. So notice here, Mahomes the lowest? No, this doesn't add up.
Where are you at?
I'm on the Dom station.
Hit refresh. Hit refresh.
Hold on a second.
Wait a minute. Maybe you got it.
No, man. Take another look at that. So this should be probably 35.
Yeah, let me look here quick. I might have just not updated it last time I did it.
Yeah, that looks off. This also doesn't add up to 100. So that's definitely not quite right. There you go. Live TV. We notice it. But you got to figure it's going to be 35%. It won't be 50%. Let's get that clear. All right. While you are taking a look at that, I'm going to take a look real quick here at the running back position for both teams, guys. For both of these games. Now, this is kind of easy for me at the top. Aaron Jones is a lock button in this slate. Even if this was a whole slate with 16 games, this setup is lock button for Aaron Jones.
100%.
Exactly what Kamara was going into the main slate. No wide receivers available on the team. No one to throw to. It's just going to be Aaron Jones, Aaron Jones, Aaron Jones. You know, the only reason you don't lock button this, the only reason you don't lock button this play is because Jones could get hurt. Like, if I'm trying to win the millie on DraftKings and it's a crazy giant contest, Jones could get hurt and then Jamal Williams comes in. Have like 5%. You can account for those scenarios. People always do. So account for that scenario. But outside of that, I mean, he's going to smash. And he could, if he gets hurt like 3/4 of the way, he could still be the highest scoring running back on the slate. That's the problem when there's a lot of salary available and this guy's going to get all this work. You just basically have to play him. I'm probably go 100%. Same thing with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. It's not the greatest matchup. Like on paper, you'd think, hey, New England's a good defense. It doesn't matter. Running back for Kansas City generally smashes against the Patriots. And even if he doesn't completely smash, you got to play 2 running backs. And who am I going to play? Burkhead and Gurley. Those guys on their best day, not that good.
No, that's the thing, especially on FanDuel, where I just don't see how you don't play lock button both those guys in.
I'm lock buttoning them.
Yeah, I mean, they're just, and if it happens, it gets hurt, whatever, man. But like, they're already going to be so massively owned that you just.
I think these numbers to me are probably like if Jones is going to be 75% or 77%, and let's say Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be around 70%.
It's the only way to get over the field.
Yeah, I don't mind going 100. I'll just I don't want those lineups that don't have them. Like the other day, I went like 85% Waller in one of these ones, and he ends up going off, or who was it that went off? Kittle. You know what I'm saying? Like when these guys, Kittle wasn't a lock button for the 2 game, but you get the idea. When these guys are so obvious, and also you have to choose 2, and the other running backs are so poor in terms of the choice, I think you can go all in here. It's fine. We aren't breaking any ground here, but those are all in plays for me. And then let's look at the rest of the running backs because those 2 are pretty basic. So, what am I on? Wrong. That's not my sheet. That's the 2 game. All right. So here we go. The other guys, Todd Gurley. The matchup, very, very good. He's getting about half of the snap count for the Falcons. They're rolling out Brian Hill a little bit on passing downs, and even Judge Ito Smith comes in for about 10 or 15% of the play. So they're definitely not giving Gurley the full workload. But I mean, if he's going to have a good game this season, this should be it.
It should be.
I mean, there's absolute chance. You got Julio on the team. Julio's specialty as a wide receiver is being tackled on the 1-yard line.
That's right.
That's like his signature.
That's right.
And who comes in to smash it home? That's going to be Gurley. So while I don't expect 100 yards, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't expect 100 yards for Gurley.
No. He's not going to get there. Unless he breaks one off, it's the only way he's going to get there.
Nope. And he does not seem to be the break one off guy anymore. And I'm not expecting 20 touches. And they don't use him much in the passing game, which is why this is far from an all-in play, because the floor is if he doesn't score a touchdown, he's probably not going to do much. Now he's pretty cheap, 5,500 DraftKings, 6,600 on FanDuel is like cheap enough that it doesn't really matter. But I'm just pointing out he's going to need a touchdown to make value, but he's got a good chance. You know what? I'm going to pull up here. Hold on a minute. I'm going to pull up the touchdown prop for him here as we're talking, because I should have had this ready, but prop finder tool. Oh shit. That's right. It's pretty awesome. Go to sportsbetarmy.com. You can access this yourself. And let's go Gurley. Let's see what the chances of Todd Gurley scoring a touchdown today. -105, guys. That's 50-50 odds of a touchdown. This is what this is telling us.
Good.
The money says Gurley's got a 50% shot at a touchdown. So if he scores a touchdown, Keg, what are the chances that he's in the nuts lineup?
Oh, On this slate, probably pretty high.
Let's say he's in the flex. I don't think it's 90%.
No, I don't think it's 90. I would put her down to more 50%, 40, 50%.
So if I take the 50% chance that he's got a touchdown, and then the 50% chance that him scoring a touchdown and doing whatever else he does puts him in the nuts lineup, that gives me a 25% chance that Gurley should. That essentially tells me 25% exposure to Gurley. Like how I did that math in the flex,
right.
because we're already locking in the other two guys. So to play Gurley is to lose like a wide receiver. So he not only has to score this touchdown, 50% shot, but all the other wide receivers that I could have put in the flex have to not score more than what he's going to score. There's our number, man. That was some crazy math. Other names. Brian Hill, I like him for a splash play, more of a DraftKings play for me, probably than a FanDuel play, but he's coming in the passing game work, and he seems a lot more explosive than Gurley.
Yeah,
Jamal Williams, I mean, is the other guy for, every now and again he has an okay game.
But for ownership, I prefer Williams over Hill by far. Especially around the price point. Just because if they run two running backs, or if they put Adams out in the slot once in a while, Williams can get some more snaps out of this situation, and he can catch the ball out of the backfield as well. So I think they'll need him a lot more than they'll need Hill. But now I'm saying, these are just, guys just throwing in 150. Like
he'll get more snaps. I think, Jamal Williams, we know who he is, but he's out there a lot. So he's getting more touches. Brian Hill, though, I do think is more explosive. Like Brian Hill's that super turd that can win you the showdown. That's what Brian Hill brings to the table. So, that's like a 5, 6, 8% play for me. Jamal Williams, if this was actually a showdown and I didn't have to choose between him and all of the other possible flex plays, basically, here's how the math is going to work for this. If you're locking RB on these two, all of these other guys are the candidate maybe for the flex, and they're competing with wide receivers that you could put in the flex. So you just can't get too much of any of this. Mathematically, you just can't unless you're willing to go under 100% on these two. So for all of these guys, and that's actually kind of nice, it reduces our mystery a little bit, unless we kind of allow a little bit extra leeway here. Maybe Hilaire, you go 90%, and
no,
you don't want to do that. You don't want to do it. So who could go off? Could James White go off? It's not going to be Burkhead and White. I think the first rule I would make is never have those two in a lineup together. They won't show up if you've got those two spots locked, but it's Burkhead or White maybe for the Patriots, one of the two that could have a big game.
I fixed ownership.
There we go. Let's take a look. Aha. All right. Wait. Refresh. There we go. Okay. So let's take a look at the quarterback. I want to see what the ownerships are going to be for these quarterbacks. Okay. All right. So, but interesting. Mahomes less than Rodgers.
Price thing. When you're building lineups, I was building some, and it's to get a nut lineup that you feel really good about.
To save a little bit.
You got to save a little bit. And they do that on purpose too, so.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Let's take a look at the running back position from ownership perspective now. And there you go. I mean, still, you're not going to have 100% ownership on these.
No.
Nothing's ever 100%.
Nothing.
So you've got 25% on Gurley, which is probably mathematically kind of correct. Then Rex, James White, pretty low. I like this leverage on DraftKings. Jamal Williams, maybe too high at 25%. Kind of makes me not want to play him. I'd almost just leverage that by going way under on Jamal. As much as he's a good play, I get why the ownership is there. I might go a little lower than that just to reverse leverage that play. All right, running back position covered. Let's take a look at the wide receiver position on this slate. It's tricky. First of all, let's look at the ownerships again. I love ownerships, man. I love it because it gives you an idea of who the best plays are. And look, the top ownership is Valdez-Scantling because is this what am I looking at? Fanduel, DraftKings. Okay, so
FanDuel, right? Are you?
No, this is DraftKings.
Okay, DraftKings. Okay.
I'm actually surprised at how expensive Valdez-Scantling is here at $4,900. But he's the number one wide receiver in the spectacular matchup of the day. He's not very good, but he's the number one in a great matchup.
Yep. It's just all the targets he's going to see, man. Like, I mean, he's the one guy that Rodgers is actually throwing the ball consistently. Dude drops everything, but like he's the one guy that's got at least a little bit of rapport with him.
Absolutely. So now for the rest of the wide receivers on the slate as a whole, it's interesting to see, again, looking at the ownerships, but I mean, Tyreek Hill, obvious reasons. Julio and Calvin. Julio going to be a little higher owned, even though Calvin Ridley is probably the better play. A lot of Q tags going around over here.
He's only $6K too, like Julio. Like they've priced him way down for.
That's why he's going up in ownership. I mean, he's only $6K. Imagine getting Julio Jones for $6K.
I mean, it's like 2 years ago you would have been smashed that button, but Ridley's that number one in that offense now, man.
Jones is still good, and actually Jones has the best cornerback matchup.
I mean, you got to play him at $6K, but like it's
Kevin King, who is the name, is the lowest rated of the elite cornerbacks for the Packers. I believe Yair Alexander is going to be on Ridley. He's essentially their best corner right now. I can't say much about like Gage, but I love Gage. He's always involved and he's super cheap. He's one of my favorite plays. Gage could be a better play than Valdez-Scantling in the sense that, if the corner play is elite for Jones and Ridley, I mean, Gage usually gets looks, but if they're throwing a lot.
It's tough. Yeah, they have to throw a lot, which they do, but I mean, with both the Jones, Ridley, Gage, Hurst, like they got everybody healthy on that team where, MVS is it, man. Like there's no reason that guy shouldn't see 12 targets as like a floor today, it's hard to get off him.
You're going to have to throw to Kenny Cash. I don't know. They're going to have to throw to him. And he's got the best matchup. So again, it's really tough. Now with Julio, he's an injury waiting to happen. Let's be clear. Julio can get hurt in game. He's in and out. He comes back out. You think you're okay, but he's just a decoy. Julio's a decoy type of player. They'll throw him out there if he's kind of limpy and not throw to him. So he's always a little sketch when he's got that Q tag for me.
Yep.
Ridley got the Q also, is a little concerning, but I mean, we haven't seen him out there as a decoy before. When he's out there, anything can happen, but he's been out there. So I think these guys are obvious. These percentages are obvious. The one way I like to set up my lineups, of course, is to build around the quarterback. So, on my on my Matt Ryan lineups, I'm going to have him with two pass catchers. That's 100% for me. If I'm playing Matt Ryan, I've got two of his pass catchers in there. If I'm playing Aaron Jones, if I'm playing Aaron Rodgers, I've got two people he might throw to. A few of those will be tight ends and running backs, but I've got at least two guys in there. And pretty much the same with Mahomes. I think one way you differentiate your lineups is make sure that you get whatever quarterback you choose, that's where you load up on those pass catchers.
I think in this slate, though, I think you could run out a naked Mahomes and then get all the pass catchers for, say, Green Bay because of their price, and soak up the touchdowns that way.
That's doable as well. I mean, with Mahomes, the one concern always, he's got too many weapons, so he doesn't always produce two slate-winning.
No, but he can
score. But again, a 2-game slate, I don't think
on 2-game slate. The rules I don't care like we do on a main slate where we're trying to set all the, correlation stacks and secondary stacks and really hammer that tool. For me, it's just I'm looking at raw points and just building a few lineups. I only did mostly on FanDuel because I like the tournaments that they put out there more than DraftKings did today.
If you're trying, I like FanDuel a little bit better for the tonight.
Yeah.
Guys, by the way, if you're watching this, that's where you want to go reserve. FanDuel has just a $2, $1, $3. They have all these different price ranges, quarter and nickel, but they're also much less top-heavy tournaments. DraftKings is doing a Millie Maker tournament, which is great if you're trying to win $1 million. Every week, we love $1 million. but it's tricky when $2 million is in a prize pool and a full 1 million of it goes to whoever's in first. I love that, but you're going to bleed your bankroll dry. I'm yet to win a Millie Maker, bro. And it's been 9 years of playing DFS. Like if I enter those type of contests where I have any shot of not losing most of my money if I don't take first, and I enter like a lot of lineups into that, my bankroll is going to be empty in a hurry. So you got to have discipline in DFS, guys. Throw one lineup in there. Throw a crazy one though. Don't be all right. Let's talk about crazy plays to win the DraftKings million real quick. You want to live in this area down here. Darius Shepard, Mecole Hardman, 5% goes off. Demir Bird does something. That's how you're going to need something like this to win the millie. I mean, to differentiate, and it's going to be gross looking when you make it.
Yeah, I got to fix that because Shepard will have ownership there. I just got to rerun it with his new
He won't
projection.
get much. He'll get a little bit,
but he'll get some because everybody knows with him out and
he got targeted.
Everybody's talking. He's going to be like the number 2 there. So yeah, I got to rerun it. But yeah, we'll update this. The thing's always updated. If you come in like Geek showed you, hit refresh projections before you run anything because it's always going to update the latest adjustments that we make. So
yeah, here's Malik Taylor coming in with a little. It could be Malik Taylor that wins you all the monies.
Could be.
So he's the number 3 guy. They're all projected about the same. Look, Malik and Darius Shepard projected about the same. Who knows? I don't know. But they have a great matchup. So something like that probably going to win it. But if I had to play cash, all right, let's talk cash real quick. The easiest way, guys, to understand what the cash lineup is just, again, you just kind of sort by projected ownership, and it will usually tell you who the best cash plays are. Like, it's going to be Scantling, probably Hill, probably Jones. And if you can't afford that, you got to jump down to either a Watkins.
It'll give you 70 to 80% of your cash lineup right there. And then it's your 2v2s, maybe 3v3s that you got to have to get off of.
People ask about a cash lineup. It's like, okay, play this guy and this guy. They're the top 2. Play this, and this. They're the top 3. Tight end, try to play, these 2 guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, just play the highest projected players. They're the best plays on the slate. They're high projected for a reason. One thing you could do, though, in cash is pay down on defense. So that might be where I go to save some money. I don't think I'd play Chiefs defense in cash because it's just so expensive. Unless I can afford it, I'm just going to pay down to Packers. No Patriots. I like the projection for the Patriots is 0 because that should be what it is.
Don't run there.
No one played the Patriots. No,
not the price. Like when you can go cheap with Atlanta, like even
Ryan Izzo, super turd, man. Zach, that is like a little bit more. He could get a few catches. That's a little bit more single game slate for me than a 2-gamer, because to play Izzo and his terribleness means I have to give up on Kelsey and Robert Tonyan or Hayden Hurst, like all better plays.
If he was a wide receiver, I would have way more Izzo than I would have him at tight end. But there's just the opportunity cost that you're taking. If Kelsey gets 2 touchdowns or if Tonyan gets 2 touchdowns, then he doesn't matter what that guy does at all.
Yeah. And again, salary being less important doesn't mean let's say Ryan Izzo catches a touchdown from Brian Hoyer. What's that going to do for me? Like, I need more than that. So yeah, I mean, it's good, but it's definitely more of a showdown play. Jay is mentioning Gage, but one thing I say, I worry about soft tissue injuries. When they come back from a concussion, I give no fear to that. If he's back, that means he's over the concussion. Whereas a soft tissue like Julio's hammy, first play of the game, Keg, I could see it in my head. I see like Julio just like, and hopping out. You know what I mean? Like I could see it after the second play, especially if you load it up on him. Like what happened week 2 with Davante Adams. Like, yeah, motherfucker.
That's why I like freaking clenching my cheeks all yesterday because I put Fuller in my cash lineup. And it's like, no, he's a great play. But at the same time, he could pull on that thing at any given time. And luckily it didn't happen. But yeah, there's certain guys that have that, man.
Somebody's mentioning J.J. Taylor, who I believe is another running back for the
he's a Pats, but with
the Patriots.
Not with he would be number 4 for me with Harris coming back. Like I wouldn't get that cute. Not Not when you have 2 elite running backs on the slate, and you're basically trying to find maybe somebody on New England's going to get something like. Then plus you got Gurley. Like I just don't see that. I think that's getting too cute.
I agree. I mean, no, I can't do that. Give me the most obscure Patriots running back. That is the most silly for the Millie play ever. Just put that in that one lineup.
You're burning fun coupons all night long with that, man. Like,
yeah, that's the silly for the Millie play. Like, would you bet if it was on a book that guy was plus or minus 10 yards rushing in this game? I might bet the under on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he might not get one. I would bet the under all day. I can go on the prop finder and see if he exists there, but I doubt he's even on there. He's not even here. You know what I mean? Like Taylor. There he is. Hold on. Let's see if there's a prop for this guy. No. Score a touchdown. Okay. Plus 420. You know what?
Nope.
FanDuel's trying to sucker us with that bet right there, man. You know, the other guy's giving you plus 1,000. They want to suck you in. You know why you can't trust some of these numbers, man? If I can't bet the minus side, if I can't bet against it, like doesn't score a touchdown, then I don't believe the number.
Plus 420. You're nuts. I wouldn't touch that. What more burning fun coupons, man? I ain't doing that. There ain't no way.
If I could get minus 300, doesn't score a touchdown, I'd put all my money on that. All right, so back to this. Where am I? Tanyan. Somebody asked who the safest other tight end is. I'm going to go Tanyan over Hurst. It goes in the order of projected ownership. Tanyan is going to get, he got 18% of the targets. Hurst is getting about 13% of the targets for his team.
Yeah, it's Tanyan.
Tanyan's the second safest guy, and he's cheaper than Hurst.
Yeah, agree.
What do you feel about tight end? I know the answer, but I'm going to say this. What do you feel about tight end in the slot, in the flex?
On a 2-gamer, of course.
Yeah, you got to play it.
Because there's not, some 2-gamers, you might have 3, like you might have way more 3 elite running backs, where you might have just a bunch of wide receivers you have to play, like you want to get them in there. But on this slate, when you have like Kelsey, to me, he's a wide receiver, so he don't really count. Like Kelsey, Kittle, those guys, they're not tight ends to me. Those guys are like elite wide receivers. So there's no problem playing Tanyan and Kelsey together in lineups at all. So don't be afraid of that.
Yeah, Kelsey basically plays as another wide receiver in your lineup. Tanyan being a pay down option in a spectacular matchup, in a situation where his team has no one else to throw to. I mean, Tanyan, you want to talk about prop finder? I bet Tanyan has a solid.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
To score a touchdown prop for a pass catcher. Plus 165. Dude, that's a good number. Like for a pass catcher, I'd be shocked. Let's see where Julio Jones is, but I'd be shocked if like Jones was way better than that. You know what I mean? Like to score. There it is. Julio Jones, not that much better to score a touchdown prop.
Nope.
Than Robert Tanyan. Notice how cool this tool is, but I love this tool, man. If you're ever betting on these props and you don't use this tool, you're a fucking idiot.
Put up Hurst while you're at it.
You want to see Hurst? All right, let's see.
Just while we're comparing Tanyan to Hurst. Plus 200.
Or touchdown, plus 200.
Tanyan, see, it tells you right there. He's just a better equity to hit a touchdown than Hurst, and that's what Vegas thinks. It's hard.
No, I know about Taylor leading the team in touches last week. It came out of nowhere. But they just activated Damian Snacks Harris.
And it's the Patriots, man.
It's the Patriots, dude. Do not trust that. We've been doing DFS long enough to know you don't know what the fuck the Patriots. This guy could get nothing.
He could play 0 snaps this week.
And he likes Sternberger better. Hold on. We got a contrarian over here. Hold on. Let's see what Vegas says. Let's see what Vegas says about Sternberger.
I like Sternberger, but like
Stern, he's fine, but like
but like Tanyan 600 more on DK.
Are we judging talent? He's plus 550 to score a touchdown. Tanyan is plus 120.
Yeah, like I like them both, and I think Sternberger is more of a DK play than a FanDuel play, in my opinion.
And Bird played more, but again, we talked about the matchup for Bird. Bird is a deep threat burner, doesn't get a lot of looks. And you're talking about...
I'll tell you this. They have a better chance of getting Bird the ball if they do a double pass to Edelman and let Edelman chuck the ball down there than let Hoyer try to throw the ball down there, man.
Edelman's completed those before.
He has. Let's say he probably has a stronger arm than Hoyer does.
Bird is in play. He's out there for all the snaps.
Yeah,
He's playable.
on 2-game slate. Yeah, he's going to be in your pool.
Yeah.
But just take that into account when you're
on the single game. We might have a lot of Bird. I mean, in our tournaments. But this again, it's a 2-game slate, and there are real, actual quality players, and you don't have to pay down. Like you can afford whatever kind of you want. So like you only have to really throw one turd into each lineup. So it's not that bad. Like you get Gage at 4,500. You got MVS at 4,900. One of those two guys is gonna like find their way into every lineup. Tanyan finds his way into your lineup for his salary, and then you could just like whoever you want. You could play. You're playing Julio. You're playing Ridley. You're playing whoever the hell you want. Reek, Kelsey. You can get a bunch of those studs packed in with a couple of these cheapies who are in good spots with high floors. Safest DK flex. You're killing me, bro. What's a flex? What does that mean? What's a flex? Every player is a safe flex. Kelsey is a safe flex. Martez Valdez-Scantling is a safe flex. This doesn't exist. You're basically all right. So the way this is going to go down, we talked about this a little bit before when you're looking at the sheet. If you're locking in the 2 running backs as we recommend, you've got 3 wide receiver spots. Now you've got all of these other running backs as potential flex plays, all of the non-top 3 wide receivers that you use as potential flex plays, and then possibly an extra tight end as a potential flex play. So when you're essentially looking at your exposures, you have to think of it like that.
I'll say when I was building my initial Fanduel lineup just to kind of see where salaries sit, and we've talked about it in nausea with Edwards-Helaire and Jones are automatically going to be in the running back positions. It eats up a ton of salary, and we're going to pay up for for Mahomes or Rodgers. You're going to be left a difficult position in your flex, even to play wide receiver. You're going to only be able to play one of the studs. You're not going to be able to play Hill and Ridley. Or
you know what?
Because I built it, and so you're going to have a decision. Is it Gurley? Basically, if you're putting Tanyan at tight end, it's either going to be Gurley, Kelsey, or another cheap wide receiver. So I would say it's if you want to talk about a safe cash flex play, then you're probably looking at either Kelsey or Gurley.
Let's see how you started out. We'll give it a look. Let's say we're not using Chiefs defense.
Oh, here I didn't build DraftKings, so I built a Fanduel one. But
I'm just gonna show it real quick because you'll start to see it. All right, so we know Mahomes is expensive. You could go down to Ryan, but let's say we want to play Mahomes.
I always put the expensive one, then you can go down if you're fit at.
So we like Valdez-Scantling, right? He's going to be kind of in there. He's also, you got 5,800 left. You can get Julio. Basically, now you're deciding. All right, do I want Reek in there with Mahomes, or do I want Kelsey with Mahomes? I'll put in Kelsey. I got enough space for even Julio or Edelman and Julio. I can really load up. I don't like this approach. Too many Falcons.
Yeah.
But actually here, no, this is not bad. Gage, Jones.
Yep.
That's how you do it. You got Kelsey, you've got Julio, you've got Russell Gage, who we like, MVS. You got the 2 elite running backs in there. You got Kelsey in the flex. Done. Right? Yeah, or I can go Sammy Watkins to get a little more correlation with Pat Mahomes here, get a Watkins-Kelsey thing going on. You could kind of, I want Hayden Hurst. Okay, I can afford that. So you can build off of this approach.
This old boy's going to get him a Sternberger jersey, and he's going to have him a few Busch Lattes tonight.
What college did Sternberger come from? Antoine's like a fan of that school.
Oh, he's an Aggie, man.
Oh, my God.
Pretty sure he's an Aggie. I could be wrong.
But he's a fan of that school. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to. This is how I'm building my line. So then I'll have this sort of core already built. Now I'll say, all right, let me do a Rodgers lineup, right? Well, who does well with Raya? I already got Martez Valdez-Scantling in there. All good. I just added $800 worth of salary. I might say, you know what? Julio, fuck Julio. Ridley is the man over here. Let me put Ridley in there. And then, your
cash games are probably going to come down to the 3v3. It's going to come down to, I guess 4-4, because depending on who you go quarterback, and then your 2 wide receivers and your flex. Like, I think a lot of people are going to pick the 2 running backs, Valdez-Scantling, and probably Tanyan at tight end. And then it's building around that.
How you do it, right? This is how you do it. So now I've got Rodgers with Scantling and Tanyan. If it's Antoine, he'd go Sternberger. But I'm going Tanyan in this one. right?
Yep.
So, but that's fine to go Sternberger also. I wouldn't use both Tanyan and Sternberger in the same lineup. And then you could make a choice. Now I can do again the same options. I can do Edelman and Gurley in the flex. Okay. How about Gage and Kelsey in the flex? That looks pretty sexy. That's how you can build your lineups today.
Yep. Europe.
I think this is it, guys. That's a breakdown for the primetime slate. It's going to be fun to build these lineups. Remember, do something. Now, what Keg and I mostly just talked about, I want to be clear. Like this lineup over here is pretty chalk. Like what you're looking at on screen, I'm putting it in. Don't get me wrong. Boom. Played it. But that was pretty chalk. I always play the lineups that you see on these because I spent the time to make it. But you're now going to play it too. So it's got no chance because of all the ties. But here's the deal. Have fun making these lineups. Try to find one unique aspect of every lineup that might propel you. Because everybody's playing these guys, right? Like everybody's playing the two.
But don't do like what a lot of people try to do. Don't try to get cute across 6 positions. You don't have to. You just got to get different in a couple. You know, you build around a solid core that you know is going to put up raw points that are solid plays and build around that and mix and match. And if you're hand building these things, have that game script in your mind of what's going to happen. Like if I'm going to play, Sternberger, well, maybe I think, that Tanya's not going to have a good game. I think they both could catch balls, but, have that in mind when you're building.
You can do something unique or play to like unlikely but possible scenarios. You know what I'm saying? Like make a lineup where the Packers defensively completely dominate the Falcons and the Falcons just don't do shit. So like have a lineup without a lot of Falcons players or no Falcons players in it. You know what I'm saying? You play for these scenarios. Or how about the flip side? The Falcons defensively completely dominate the Packers. Packers are off their game. They don't have their wide receivers. I don't think it's likely, but I'm saying if you built a lineup like that, then it could work out well. Same thing with the Patriots game. Like the Patriots control the opponent defense. You know what I'm saying? Build these different scenarios to try to win this millie. But again, in cash, don't do any of that. In cash, go to the projections, the ownership projections, look who's the highest owned, and assume that is that way for a reason. Those are the best cash plays. And again, we pay down in cash games on defense, usually in tight end. That's how you sort of afford all these other studs. Just stud up all over the place in cash, get the highest floor, and just, let your opponent make mistakes. That's our cash game motto. Keg likes to play me in cash and let me make mistakes. He comes in with like straight cash chalk, and then he's like, Geek's going to fuck it up. Am I right? When we play one another, Keg? Isn't that how you do it?
Most of the time.
You just assume I'm going to fuck it up.
That's right. Let your opponent make mistakes.
I usually do. Yeah, there we go. All right, guys. That's it for the DFS Army primetime. This isn't a showdown. This is a primetime breakdown. Guys, it's a fun one tonight. Have fun making lineups for this. I want to see those helmets on top of these tournaments. Taking one down. I expect it. Yeah.